I think Brandon Perna has a perfect coffee for what I'm feeling right about now. Oh my god. So, the Panthers just got absolutely fucking robbed by the officials. And this is the type of bullshit that we see from the NFL that makes people get conspiracy theory bullshit about the game being rigged. The Panthers just fell to the Green Bay Packers 33-30. It was a pretty fun game to watch if you weren't a fan of either one of the teams, because the Packers defense falling victim to the Panthers offense putting up 30 points on them made the Packers fans upset because they're saying, yeah, sure, we got to win, but I mean, our defense looks suspect, which they have been all season. It's been ups and downs. And then you have the Panthers fans who looked at the game that they should have had a chance to at least tie, if not win, multiple times, and it was taken from our grasp every single moment. And you may ask me, why do I give a fuck about if the Panthers win or not? Because it's my fucking team. I do not care if it would have just made us 3-12. It is my fucking team, and I want to see them win every time they can and every time they deserve to. And they deserved to win this game, and it was taken away from them. This entire game was a series of ups and downs that were just absolutely fucking insane. But the fact of the matter is, we played better football as a whole than the Green Bay Packers, and yet somehow we're not able to come away with a win or at least tie to go into overtime. Why? Because the referees at multiple occasions fucked us in the ass. But of course, a game is not won and lost by the refs alone, so let's go into the actual bad things that the Panthers did do that made sure that this wasn't, a bigger victory than it could have been. So in the first half of the game, like the entire first half, the team was pretty suspect. It looked like the same old Panthers. Young was overthrowing a lot of his receivers. There were terrible short yardage play calls. We could not stop Aaron Jones worth a damn. There was arm tackling all over the defense, so we couldn't stop anything. Tucker Kraft, on multiple occasions during this entire game, was able to get out of 2-3 defenders touching him and still sprint downfield for a good yardage. And the defense, even though they made steady improvement throughout the game, was still a huge reason why we were not able to actually punch in a lot of the final tickets that would have gotten us to win. And this is after that, this entire season, I have been praising the defense over and over and over again. But of course, this is just much of the same formula we see from the Panthers, where if the offense actually steps up and plays a really good game, then the defense for some reason falls short, even though they're a higher ranked defense against a lower ranked offense. Over the entire course of the game, we were seeing a lot of arm tackles, some good coverage, but a lot of times we were just letting like Bo Melton get way out of fucking coverage, like breaking into different zones, losing their man, stuff like that, and we were allowing too many catches from him. I mean, Bo Melton at the end of the game ended up having 4 catches for 44 yards, which I know doesn't sound like too much, but when you factor in the fact that the game was so close, that's a pretty big deal. But also to retread, like I said, Young did overthrow his receivers a lot in the first quarter and in a little bit of the second quarter. He cleaned it up a lot in the second half, which is the main reason why we were able to come back after such a big deficit. But that is an issue that he has had throughout this entire season when it comes to medium passes and deep passes. He does seem to overthrow his receivers a good bit. But that, of course, can be cleaned up. But I just want to say that that did show its ugly head again, but was cleaned up later in the game. Also want to point out the fact that this game did have 3 missed extra points from both sides, as in 1 missed extra point on the Green Bay Packers and 2 from Eddie Pinheiro this game. Otherwise, he was fine when it came to like putting up a field goal and all that, but he did miss 2 extra points, and it was very frustrating. And I hope his confidence isn't shot, but oh my god, he kills me sometimes when it comes to these close games. He doesn't seem to rise to the occasion in big moments, which is weird because he rises to fourth quarter game winning field goals, but if the game is on line but it's not with the clock expiring, then it seems like that's when he has the issue. If the clock is expiring, he's fucking money. But if you want to have a crucial kick happen during the game, no, you're not really going to get that from him. But not just too down on, a player specifically. Let's talk about some of the good players that really showed today. We have Tommy Tremble. Tommy Tremble did a great job today. He was a great safety foul for Bryce Young, 4 for 59, 14.8 average. We had, of course, Amir Smith-Marset, who did great in the running game and actually did catch a pretty good pass from Bryce Young. He was 1 for 18 in the passing game, but he had 2 runs for 33 yards, and one of them was a good end around for a touchdown. And then we had DJ Chark. DJ Chark, for some reason, when it came to the fourth quarter, oh my God, was he fucking money for Bryce Young. The connection he had to Young during this game looked like the connection they were having in training camp. And that is what we wish that we could have seen throughout this entire season that we have not been seeing remotely. But we saw a little bit of it here because he went 6 for 98, 16.3 average, and 2 touchdowns. And then, of course, Bryce Young played the best game that he's had this season. He was 23 for 35 passing attempts, 312 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And, of course, the big thing was that he did not have a turnover. Young has had turnover problems this entire season, and the fact that he didn't have a single turnover this game, he did fumble 1 snap, but did recover it himself afterwards, so that wasn't a fumble lost. He has absolutely shown that he is able to grow and evolve throughout the season, which has been great. We're still seeing, of course, some of the rookie mistakes that are hopefully going to be cleaned up in this upcoming offseason, but he played a fantastic game, and he has shown time and time again that he is showing a little bit of the clutch gene. And every single game that we've won, which I know is only 2, he's had to make a very long game-winning drive and lead it pretty much perfectly. And in this game, he was close to it. If Adam caught the ball on the final pass and dropped immediately instead of trying to rumble forward for a little bit of yardage, we'd get the fucking spike off and probably kick the game-tying field goal and go into overtime. There were also plenty of other throws where he made a fantastic ball fly straight past defenders and into his guy's hands. Once again, to DJ Chark. There was a great time where he had a rollout to his right, and then he made a great sideline throw at the sideline of the end zone right into Chark's hands. And now we get to the part where I get a little bit fucking angry. That's because this game overall, the officiating was awful, and it felt like it was all against the Panthers. There were some questionable calls against the Packers that hurt them. But for the most part, every call against the Panthers that was not just a holding call or like something simple like that seemed like it was complete and utter bullshit. There was lacks of holding calls against the Green Bay offensive line against Brian Burns. There was missed roughing the passer calls against Bryce Young. He only got 1 of those calls, despite the fact that there are a few times where you can see the defender take more than 3 steps and lunge forward at Young. But of course, it's a Panthers quarterback. They never get protection from the refs. There was a missed unnecessary evidence on Ihmir Smith-Marsette on a play that also included, for some reason, Cade Mays getting a penalty and not the player hitting Ihmir Smith-Marsette when he was already out of bounds. So missed penalties on top of penalties that didn't make any sense against the Panthers made me just so frustrated, because without those penalties, you are going to see a great game against the Carolina Panthers and the Green Bay Packers, which in the beginning of my stream, I talked about how usually when our 2 teams go against each other, it is a great game, but it just feels like it's so soured by the fact that the officials this year have been absolutely awful. And I talked about in the beginning of this video that this type of game and this type of officiating, especially on the Romeo Doubs catch, and I'm sure this is going to be a whole like Des Bryant situation. Was it a catch? Was it not? I don't think it was a fucking catch. I wouldn't have thought of it as a catch if it was my own guy making it. But that type of thing that happens makes people believe that this is rigged, especially because this fits the NFL's narrative. A forever seemed to be a favorite of the refs and the Green Bay Packers needing this win to make sure they still have a shot for the playoffs. This seems like it fits perfectly in the narrative that the NFL would want to create, that they barely eke out the win and stuff, and the refs are just helping them along. Of course, I don't believe that, but this is how you get that conspiracy, and that's how you lose viewership and lose people's trust in the product that you create. I, once again, want to reiterate, I don't believe that the NFL is rigged. But this type of stuff makes me upset because I know it makes other people lose trust. So in the end, I think the Panthers got completely screwed out of a victory, at least a chance at going to overtime for the victory. But in the end, you can't really say too much about it because the refs do not decide the game completely. There were times the Panthers could have taken an opportunity, could have made a better play call on 3rd and short and 4th and short, could have made a better play call to make sure that there wasn't a holding call on the first 2-point conversion attempt and stuff like that. So while this game is very sour and the Panthers did deserve to win and it feels like the refs ripped it away from them, I also have to feel happy that for this time, I'm not angry at my team for losing. This entire season, for 12 other games, I've been angry at my team because they were the reason they lost. They were the reason that they could not make it past the finish line, even in close games. But now, at least I get to say we got robbed. And I mean, I like the Packers as well. They're like, if the Panthers aren't playing, I'm happy for them. But the Panthers should have won this game. And I am a little bit salty. I'll admit that. There's definitely lots of salt and vitriol coming out of my mouth this video because I believed that the Panthers should have won and that they played the better football this game. In the end, I got to see a great performance by my rookie quarterback in a season that is over already. We've been eliminated for a while now, but still, goddamn, man. The NFL has to look into officiating. It's getting rough. Well, Packers fans, a win's a win, so if you're going to get a win with highway robbery, please, for the love of God, do something with it. Run the table. Do something. If we're going to get robbed like that, I want to see you guys at least fucking tear up the playoffs. Make some weird shit happen. Please, for the love of God. Well, that's all I got for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.